Well, Freego sent us the F1 Pro to review. This bike is coming in at about $1,700 currently on their website for sale. So what all do you get for $1,700? Well, I guess at first glance we can tell that this is a fat tire e-bike with a hub motor on it. And one thing to notice is this monster battery, 22.5 amp hour battery, 48 volts. You're going to get a lot of miles out of that battery. That's one of the biggest batteries I've seen on one of these style bikes. 750 watt rear hub motor. They're claiming 1400 watts peak out of that. I don't have a way of actually confirming that other than riding. I can kind of tell if that's 1400 watts, but we'll talk more about the specs and features in a few minutes. I'm pretty excited to get this thing out for a ride. So let's take it for a test ride real quick and then we'll talk about everything else. So I think the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to test the top speed on this bike. They're claiming 28 miles an hour. So it's kind of hard to go sometimes by the display. They're not always super accurate. So we are going to use GPS. Get out here on the straightaway on the road. Okay, this is throttle only. So we can kind of see the acceleration here, 14. So very decent acceleration, not like super, you know, throw you off the seat type acceleration, but this is a very flat road. We're up to 24. So the display is already showing 29. We're at 27. Display shows 30. There it is, 28 miles an hour on GPS. The display is showing 31 miles per hour, but that's steadily holding at 28. So the claim at 28 miles an hour is very accurate. Oh, 29. 28. Okay, we're going to say 28. That 29 was, you know, maybe I scooted forward a little bit and got that extra mile an hour, but very consistently held 28 miles an hour throttle only. So now we're going to try it pedal assist. I've got kind of a rolling mode here. This takes about a crank and a half on the pedals to kind of get going. I am pedal assist 5 because we're just looking at top speed right now. And even with pedal assist, we should hit that 28 miles an hour. I don't know. 17, 19, 20. I am in the highest gear. I'm in gear number 7. 22 miles an hour, I'm ghost pedaling. 23, I'm not pedal assist, you know, it's what we call ghost pedaling. My legs are just moving. And you can see it's still picking up speed, but I am not assisting in any way. So 22 miles an hour is fast as I can actually pedal assist and help it along. So as long as you keep your legs moving without the throttle, I believe it still will reach that 28 miles an hour. So yes, top speed is confirmed. Let's just take a second and look at the controls real quick. We got the little display. It shows we're in pedal assist 5. It does have a power meter. It just shows us, it doesn't show how many watts. It's just a meter that shows us. And then we've got our battery meter right here in the middle. It just shows how much power. It's kind of hard to see just in the backlit LCD screen. Full sun. It's actually not hard to see, but probably in the camera it will be. It shows our miles per hour and our odometer on here. It does come with a little bell on the handlebars. And you can see the throttle is a half twist throttle. I really like that style throttle, as opposed to the full grip throttle. The half grip I like on these electric bikes, really nice. See our hydraulic brake levers. They feel firm, and also like how they do have an adjustment on them to kind of firm it up there. I really like this style brakes. Land is the name brand on the brakes. I've had that on several of my electric bikes, and they seem to be a very decent brake. They work very well. They're very smooth and they're very quiet. And then we have our shifter up here, just a Shimano entry-level style shifter. You know, it is entry-level, but they are reliable and they do function very well. All right, let's get a little more riding in. I want to bring that pedal assist down to level 4, simply because I want to see, you know, if I can continue to pedal assist what the top speed on, I guess, level 4 is. You know, when you start to pedal on this bike, it's not like you get full power right away. It's a very slow engagement of power. It feels good, you know, and it's very controllable. So pedal assist level 4, yeah, it's actually going a little faster than I can pedal too, up to about 20 miles an hour. Let's take it down to 3. Oh, again, trying to cross the road. It's like, I say when you start to pedal assist, the power is slow to engage into the motor. And I was trying to cross the road and build a little speed, and I had to pedal really hard. So I don't know if there's a setting in there that we can kind of speed that setting up to help with that power engagement. Like I said, it's controllable, it feels good, but I'd like it to be a little quicker if possible to get me out of the street in those type situations. Pedal assist 1. Let's see what we get out of that. Not a whole lot. Well, the display is showing 12, yeah, up to 12 miles an hour. Let's try it in the grass. I'm just gonna bump this all the way up to pedal assist level 5. Oh, this thing, you don't even know you're in the grass. This thing just pulls like like you're not even in the grass. It just pulls like you're on pavement. Maybe. I'm at 20 miles an hour trying to give it a little pedal assist, so it's not as easy as riding on the pavement. Okay, I quit pedaling. And again, now I'm having to pedal really hard to get that power back. So I'm at 10 miles an hour, I'm pedaling really hard, 12. So I'm not sure what's up with that acceleration. And then when I hit pavement, of course, it just goes. Yeah, I don't know. But if you use the throttle, it takes off real easy. So if you use throttle in conjunction with the pedal assist, it seems to work a little better. Let's do a little off-road action here and see how she does. Yeah, so if you quit pedaling and then you start to pedal again, it takes a really long time for that power to come in. Off-road, that's not very useful. You have to, I guess the throttle is better off-road in this situation. Woo. Uh-oh. What do we have here? Looks like a big wrecking ball and a little makeshift bridge. That looks scary. Let's see if we can get to the other side of this bridge. Now that is sketch right there. Ugh. Okay. Little sand action. Now on this real loose gravel. This is like gravel sand. That's where these fat tires really come in handy. I've tried to ride this with a narrow tire bike and it kind of sinks into this pass. So these fat tires work really good. It just kind of floated right over that area there. Now, Deal suspension is actually working very well off-road here. It's not beating me up like some of my other fat tire bikes this style. And this one's actually quite smooth. I wasn't sure if that rear shock was going to give me a lot of cushion, but it appears that it is actually giving me quite a bit of cushion. All right, we're going to try the sketch bridge again here. Oh yeah, tetanus shot right here. Whoa, kind of bounced me up out of the seat there. Well, we just finished up our test ride, and what a good looking bike, and what a lot of fun to actually ride. I really enjoy this bike. You know, the saddle is somewhat comfortable all day riding. I don't know, it wasn't bad at all, actually. I had someone else test ride this, and they thought maybe the saddle or the seat there was a little wide, but kind of was a little uncomfortable then, but for me, it doesn't bother me at all. Let's go ahead and start with the power system. Again, we said that's a 22.5 amp hour battery at 48 volts. I mean, that is just a monster battery. So we got to remember the price of this. That's a huge chunk of the price right there, just that giant battery. On our pedal, we are using the cadence sensor and our 750 watt rear hub motor. Again, they're saying that this thing is going to peak at 1400. But based off my ride, what I feel, some other bikes that peak around 1200, that feels more, I guess, believable to me. Is, you know, right around maybe 1200, 1000 to 1200 watts peak is what it feels like to me. But again, I'm not 100% sure. I don't have a meter on it. DS-Land hydraulic rear brake on 160 millimeter rotor. These brakes are just so smooth. They're really quiet. Very good hydraulic brakes. I'm not super familiar with the brand, and I also had a hard time finding the actual brake pads for these. I'm going to keep looking, but they are very smooth. Very happy with these brakes. They work very well for the weight of this bike being almost 80 something pounds. With me, a rider at 220 pounds, you know, we're 300 pounds here, and these brakes have no problem stopping. Rear suspension is kind of like a spring shock, and it absorbs a lot of the bumps. It actually works much better than I thought it would, but it's bouncy. A couple of the big bumps kind of bounced me up off the seat just because it's real springy. You know, it's not a lot of absorption to it. It's real springy. The rear fender here, plastic fender, kind of standard on these. I kind of like the plastic. They're quiet. I mean, they look decent. They are functional, do what they need to do. We do have a rear tail light and brake light on the back of this bike. Works really good. Come around to the other side. We're going to look at our Shimano tourney type derailleur. You know, these are kind of entry level derailleurs with a 7-speed here. We kind of run out of gear at 22 miles an hour, so it'd have been really nice to have just a little bit different gear setup on that. But yeah, again, I can pedal to about 20 miles an hour, is about as fast as I can get the bike. And again, the tourneys, it's just a super reliable. They work good, entry level. You know, they're on tons and tons of bikes, so nothing wrong with the derailleur there. I'm not sure exactly what tooth the front chainring is. Could probably use a little bit bigger one, just being the amount of power this bike has. I really like the logo that they've got cut into the frame here. Looks really good. Freego F1 Pro. You notice up here on the front, they do have this little storage case right here. You know, phone, wallet, keys, gloves, whatever you need to put in there. It's actually mounted to the frame, and it's a very nice little case. You know, it's not super hard, but it does give you some protection against stuff sitting on whatever would be in there. This dual mounted front fork, that is a front suspension fork on that. It does have a lockout and a preload on it. You know, I tightened up the preload just a little bit for me, and the lockout works good. So if we didn't want that spring suspension on there, we can turn this knob and actually lock it out to no front suspension if you prefer that style riding wherever you are. Nice big headlight. I like that. It's actually really bright. I had it on in the garage the other night, and it's really bright, works good. We can see these Chow Yang tires on here. This is 20x4 fat tire. I like the fat tire for the type of riding I do, because not only do they work good on road, they also work very good off-road as well. So we can get over that sand and that gravel like we were earlier. These tires just work real good in that type material. Looking at the front brake, I'm sorry, if I said 160 millimeter, these are actually 180 millimeter hydraulic brakes. So front and rear hydraulic brakes, 180 millimeter disc on that. Front fender, same as the rear, just a plastic style fender, nice and quiet, functional. Again, our hydraulic brake lever here, and you can kind of set them here, you know, if they're too squishy or they don't work fast enough. I like how they got this little adjustment here where we can kind of tighten them up, you know, however you like the feel on there. You can kind of set that real easily without having to get any tools or anything out. You can actually use your finger. Again, no horn on this bike, but it does come with a little bell to kind of warn people that you're coming. You know, here's your little shifter here, up and down. You know, just your entry level again, but it is very handy. And I think we talked about the half throttle. I really like the half throttle as opposed to a full throttle. For me personally, it's a little more comfortable. I just like the way it works on these style bikes. The BMX style handlebars, really nice, you know, and I got a good posture on this bike. I'm 6'1", like I said, over 200 pounds, and I sit right. I'm not leaning over too forward. I don't feel like I'm sitting too far over the pedals. It's actually just a very good stance, or a good seating position, I guess, on this bike for someone my size and even smaller. You could probably even be a little taller and a little bigger than me and be just fine on this bike. So let's talk about the overall ride experience of this. This is a very fun bike compared to some of my other motorcycle style. I think the suspension works a little better. The posture I have, or the riding position, like I mentioned a minute ago, is much better. I feel more comfortable on this bike than some of the other ones I've had. Very well built. You know, this is a steel frame that kind of adds to the weight. Like I said, this thing is definitely over 80 pounds. It's kind of hard to get it on and off my bike rack, even for, you know, someone my size. It's still kind of awkward to get up and on the bike rack. It's kind of hard to find a spot to actually have my bike rack to where I can tie it down. So that might be something to take into consideration if you're using a bumper hitch style bike rack, is that it's heavy and there's not a lot of good spaces to really work for my style rack anyways. If you could put this in the bed of a pickup truck or something like that to transport it, might be a little better. The throttle works great, has plenty of power. No problem with the power, except during the pedal assist mode, and it might be a setting in the screen. I can't say for sure. I'll reach out to Freego. I'll leave something in the comments and see if maybe we can change that. But the power is, when you start to pedal in that pedal assist, the power is just really slow to come in. So like when you're off-road and you need that quick power as you pedal, you're going to have to use the throttle because it's just too slow. You know, using your legs to pedal. So I don't know what's up with that. I know I've seen some settings in some other screens, and this did not come with any instructions on how to set up the screen as far as the settings and all in there. So I'm not sure exactly what to look at when I go in there, but hopefully we can figure that out and we can get that pedal assist to work a little quicker. Because like I said, if you're off-road and you're in that soft dirt, sand, or even grass, sometimes you need that extra power to go up, especially if you have your gear set in a high gear, you forget to gear down. You might need to have a little more power there. So that's something to take into consideration. It's not a deal killer for me, but it's definitely something to be concerned about, in my opinion. Overall appearance of the bike, I really like it. The build quality, very nice. I like the front forks, the suspension. This is something that I'm going to keep in my shop for our customers to ride, and is even something hopefully I can sell in my shop. That's how much I like this bike. Very few of the bikes that we get we actually want to keep an inventory of, and this is one of them that hopefully we can keep an inventory of because it is such a nice bike and so fun to ride. So any questions on that, or if you have a different experience on that, or maybe someone can share how to help us on that pedal assist option, please do so in the comments. But yeah, any questions, please let me know. Thanks for watching.